Medieval torture devices. Myths versus reality. Forget Hollywood's torture chambers filled with spiked chairs and iron maidens. The truth is far more disturbing because the real medieval torture devices weren't theatrical. They were practical, engineered with terrifying precision to extract pain, obedience, and confessions. Today, we're stepping inside the darkest corners of the Middle Ages to uncover what torture actually looked like, what devices were truly used, and which infamous machines are complete myths. Medieval torture is one of the most misunderstood parts of history. Some devices never existed, some were used rarely, and others were used so often they shaped entire legal systems. The medieval world was obsessed with truth, so obsessed they believed the body could be forced to reveal it. Torture wasn't random violence. It was bureaucratic, regulated, and chillingly methodical. Let's separate fact from fiction and reveal the terrifying reality of medieval torture. Section 1. The purpose of torture. In medieval Europe, torture was used for three main reasons. Confessions. If someone confessed under torture, the confession was verified later, usually under torture again. Information. Officials believed pain could reveal conspiracies or hidden accomplices. Punishment, though less common, certain crimes warranted public, excruciating penalties. Torture wasn't chaotic brutality. It was a legal tool backed by judges, clerics, and kings. Section 2. Myth 1. The Iron Maiden never existed. Let's start with the most famous torture device of all, the Iron Maiden. Tall, coffin-shaped, filled with spikes. Close the door, and the victim bleeds slowly from dozens of wounds. Except, this device was a 19th century invention. It never existed in the Middle Ages. It was created as a morbid museum spectacle. Spiked torture coffins? Pure fiction. But the myths distracted from the painful truth. Real torture was simpler, cheaper, and far more efficient. Section 3. Myth 2. The Pear of Anguish, likely fake. The pear supposedly expanded inside the victim's mouth, or worse. But no medieval legal record mentions it. Most examples in museums are Victorian fakes. Reality was less theatrical and more horrifying. Section 4. Real device number 1. The rack, the most infamous real device. The rack stretched victims until their joints dislocated, ligaments tore, shoulders popped out of place, hips separated. The pain was indescribable, but victims could be kept alive for days. The rack's purpose wasn't execution, it was compliance, and it worked. Section 5. Real device number 2. The strappado. Simple, terrifying, everywhere. The victim's hands were tied behind their back, then they were hoisted into the air by a rope. Shoulders tore, arms dislocated, the chest compressed so tightly breathing became agony. This was the Inquisition's preferred method because it left no obvious wounds, useful when torture had to be unseen. Section 6. Real device number 3. Thumb screws and crush devices. Small but devastating. Thumb screws crushed fingers, boots crushed feet. Sometimes wedges were hammered between boards to shatter bones. These tools were popular because they were portable, controllable, and precise. You could apply pressure slowly or all at once. Section 7. Real device number 4. The pillory and stocks. These weren't strictly torture devices. They were tools of humiliation. Victims were locked in public squares and exposed to rotten food, ice-cold rain, stones, animals, human waste. Sometimes the punishment lasted days. Exposure often killed more people than any blade. Section 8. Real device number 5. The breaking wheel. One of the most brutal execution methods in medieval Europe. The condemned was tied to a wagon wheel. Limbs were smashed with iron bars in a specific order so death came slowly. Sometimes victims were woven through the spokes and displayed as a warning. This wasn't torture for information. It was torture for the crowd. Section 9. Real device number 6. Water torture. Forget modern waterboarding. Medieval versions were even simpler and crueler. Two common forms: cold water ordeal. If a suspected witch floated, they were guilty. Forced drinking. Gallons of water forced into the stomach until organs ruptured. Water was a weapon. Section 10. Real device number 7. Fire torture. Burning wasn't always execution. It could be interrogation. Hot irons, branding, and heated metal plates were used to test truth. And of course, witch burnings and heretic burnings were spectacles, designed to terrify the crowd as much as the condemned. Section 11. Torture wasn't for everyone. Contrary to belief, torture wasn't used constantly. Many regions had strict rules. Torture required judge approval. Clergy and nobles were often exempt. Confessions had to be repeated later voluntarily. A single session usually had time limits, but where torture was allowed, it scarred Europe. Section 12. Why torture finally ended. Torture faded for 3 reasons. Scientific skepticism. People realized pain doesn't reveal truth. Legal reform. Judges found confessions unreliable. Humanitarian awakening. Enlightenment. Thinkers shifted attitudes. By the 18th century, torture machines were museum pieces, and gruesome myths replaced gruesome realities. Conclusion. Medieval torture wasn't the world of spikes and iron coffins we imagine. It was colder, simpler, more calculated. It was the dark machinery of a society obsessed with obedience, faith, and order, and terrified of what people might do if fear wasn't strong enough. The devices may be gone, but the mindset lingered for centuries. If this descent into the darker side of medieval justice opened your eyes, hit like and subscribe to TorchLit History, where we uncover the truths that myth and movies leave behind. Comment, which torture device shocked you the most? And next time, life in a medieval castle from servants to lords. Because history's darkest corners often reveal the most about who we are.